Hi, Papermaker parents. I am Lisa Edwards. I am your student's math teacher this year. I put together a little slideshow with some basics, just guessing as to what you might find helpful and interesting. And feel free to email me if you have any questions beyond what I talk about in this upcoming video. I am super excited to be working with this great group of students that I have in CWU precalculus this year. I thought as parents, you might want to hear a little bit about a typical day in our pre-calculus class. When students come into the classroom, they'll find some problems up on the board for them to get started on. I call them warm-up problems. The idea behind the warm-up problems is it should be math that, based on their previous experience, they feel fairly comfortable trying, and then I'll use that experience that they have with those problems to springboard the new lesson. My teaching method is called a modified lecture, where I am up at the board with a whiteboard marker in my hand, but I use a lot of questioning techniques and always put math problems up for students to do before I work through them. So students get to experience the problems, figure out what they know and what they don't before we go through them together as a group. Typically, that helps students work kinks out before they get to their problem sets and helps their homework go faster. The idea behind the way I design my lessons is scaffolding, where the idea behind that is that new knowledge grows from previous knowledge. So I always try to figure out where students are with a concept based on what they've already learned, get them nice and solid on that level, and then move forward in baby steps from there. Following a presentation of material, the students will have a problem set that should match the concepts that we went over during the day. Here's how the grade is calculated in pre-calculus. The notebook, so the notes that they take in class, carries 5% of their grade. Homework carries 10% of the grade. Tests and quizzes carries 65%, and the semester final carries 20%. A little bit more about homework. Students should expect homework to be given daily, and they should prepare to spend about 20 minutes of uninterrupted time each day on this class. Students are expected to check their answers in the back of the book or with solutions guides that I post on Google Classroom and try to repair their mistakes. Please know that the homework grades that are reported should reflect what's called eventual learning. So if a student checks their answer in the back, they find out that they made a mistake, they're encouraged to fix that mistake, and then their homework score would include the point for that problem if they figured out how to fix it. All right, just the basics about tests and quizzes. Tests are given at the end of each chapter of study. So we just finished the first half of chapter 1. So for that unit, we've already had a test, and then we'll have another test at the end of chapter 1 as well. That's typically how we'll do it. Each test will have kind of like a mid-chapter test and then a test for the end. Tests are worth 100 points per chapter. And the cumulative final that we'll have will be at the end of each semester, and it will cover the main points of what we learned throughout that semester. All right, a little bit of information about extra help. I'm available in the mornings before school starts, any school day from 8 to 8:30, and I can also be available after school by appointment. If the amount of time that you see there is not going to be enough one-on-one time to help your kiddo be as successful as they'd like to be in pre-calculus, you might consider a student tutor. You're welcome to email me. You can see my email address there for more information if you're interested. I do have a number of student tutors who took pre-calculus or accelerated pre-calculus last year, and they could be really amazing resources to help someone be successful in pre-calculus this year. Depending on how mathy you are, you might be interested in seeing the topics that are covered in pre-calculus. We cover functions and their graphs, polynomial and rational functions, exponential and logarithmic functions, trigonometric functions, and analytic trigonometry. This class is also has a dual credit option. It is not required, and there is a cost associated. So what we cover in our first semester of this class would count as Math 153 at Central Washington University, and what we cover during our second semester would count as Math 154. You can see each class is worth 5 college credits. If you are interested in enrolling for the dual credit option, the cost associated is $55 per credit, and you'd need to turn enrollment forms in by October 4th. You can find these enrollment forms on Google Classroom. All information must be typed, and they need to be turned in to Brian Wild in the main office, again by October 4th. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy, and thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you have questions, please feel free to email me at the email address that you see here. I'd be happy to hear from you. Take care, everybody.